Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, I will share my screen. I have this slideshow that we can use a little bit here. So let's see, it's here. Can you see it? My forest, skincare and nature connection. Yeah, good. So shortly, what is our mission? Why are we doing these gray creams? I can show you. It's really, the color is gray because we have soil in our products, forest soil. So this is not very conventional way of thinking to use this color, because usually consumers are looking for white or pink or some other colored creams. But yeah, our mission is actually to enhance nature connection and help balance the microbiome on the skin, but also in the whole body. And this is interesting. My field of expertise is holistic skincare. And I've been, in my work, I have worked with cosmetic professionals, and I've been talking a lot about skin's microbiome. And because all the different areas of the microbiome are affecting each other, so in my world, it was mind-blowing when I realized that whatever we put on our skin will also affect the whole microbiome. So if something happens in your bowel system, it affects your skin, but it's also the other way around. And this is very interesting because as a cosmetic professional, this was a new idea to me. And I guess it was 2017 when I was in Finland in one seminar, listening to Aki Sinkkonen and Olli Laitinen, who have invented this microbial extract that we are using. And yeah, and the idea of our brand started 2019 when universities of Helsinki and Tampere, they started to look for ways how to bring this to consumers and to the daily life of people, how they could use this microbial extract easily whenever they want. And then we stepped in with Moi Forest and we started to develop products where we could use this microbial extract. Of course, it wasn't easy at first because there's a cosmetic legislation. It has its own complicated systems and stuff like that. But now we 1 year ago we had our first products, and now we are developing more. But the idea is that we could, if we can actually affect the health of people with this easy way using these creams. So that's the main point of our brand. And of course, we want to help get rid of different kind of skin problems. It's also related to microbiome, because if you have like some bowel problems, you can have like atopic dermatitis or acne or some kind of other skin problems. And with this microbial extract, we can actually balance also the skin's microbiome, even though it's affecting also deeper into the body. And our goal is to make as natural products as possible, and so that they are still safe and effective and also sustainable. And it's not like we are saying people that use only our products and don't go to nature. This is not our goal. Our goal is to tell people that go into nature whenever you can. That's the best way to keep up your nature connection. But there's situations where you can't go to forest or at least as often as you should. And for example, in Finland, when we have winter, we cannot get this contact to forest soil microbes because there's snow everywhere and ice. So this is one way to bring the nature to your skin if you can't go there. But of course, the most important thing is to go to nature whenever you can and get the sunlight, which helps your skin to produce vitamin D and stuff like that. So there's a lot of holistic effects when you spend time in nature. Of course, one of them is this contact to nature microbes, but there's other things too, which you cannot like replace with any product. And yeah, and the why I wanted Iida to be here today was that there's a lot of research done in Finland how forest soils are containing microbes that are beneficial to human skin and also well-being, and these microbes can actually prevent this kind of lifestyle-related diseases that are increasingly growing in the Western world. And you would think that because in Finland we have, I guess, maybe one of the best healthcare systems in the world, but still people are getting more sick every day. We have a lot of allergies. I'm not sure if we are maybe at the top of the list, because always when there's a new children are born, they're more allergic than people before. And that's a huge problem in Finland. And also because I've worked in the skincare field for over 15 years, I've seen that also skin problems, we have new kind of skin problems that there has never been before. Like adulthood acne, for example, or rosacea is also increased, and POD, which is this kind of rash around your mouth and stuff like this. And it's not only because of the masks, it has been there for 10 years. And all this is telling us that there's something wrong with our system, that this way of living is not keeping us healthy as it should. So there's some problem, and the researchers have seen that, okay, we don't get this exposure to the forest microbes and natural microbes as much as we should. We live in too sterile environments. There was this study done in Karelia a few years ago, and there they noticed that when you get the Russian side of the border, children were more healthy. They didn't have these allergies at all. But when you came to Finland's side, like 100 kilometers on the Finland side, these allergies, the amount raised, like, I think it was it like 6 times more. We have Finnish children have allergies 6 times more than Russian children, and we have almost the same nature. So it's kind of difficult to understand where this comes from. And the researchers, well, I think Iida will tell you more about these researchers and what are the ideas there, why they have started to study these things. And one of the research projects that we are going to talk today is this Adele ecosystem project.
Are you still asking? Moses, can you mute your microphone? I don't know if I can do that.
Okay, yeah. And as Iida said, they are closing this project, but they are starting new ones. So this is ongoing, I think, ongoing team in Finland that we are trying to see how we could like affect the people's health in a most effective way, and how we could prevent this kind of immune mediated diseases and allergies here, because it's a huge problem in Finland. A little bit about Reconnecting Nature microbial extract. Iida is working in university, but also She's working in Iida Scientific company, which is manufacturing this reconnecting nature microbial extract. So you can also ask about this extract from Iida. And the idea is that this gray substance with the diverse microbes from the forest and agricultural environments. And when people get this on the skin, it will affect in the same way as forest soil and help this immune system to develop in a certain way so that it's not reacting to or starting inflammation for no reason. So the immune system is working properly. And yeah, here are some how they have studied this. There's this they have used this Shannon diversity index and amount of species, how they see if it's proper. And then there's also this next generation sequencing of the microbes, so you can see this efficacy through that. And one of the professors who's been working with this Uute microbial extract is Heikki Hyöty, who's a professor of virology of Tampere University. And yeah, they had this study with adults where they have seen that even the use of 2 weeks can actually affect the whole microbiome of the human being. And when we work with this kind of forest microbe extract, we need to think about the skin's microbiome also. What is the pH of the skin? Well, if we think about like forehead or arm or areas like that, pH 5 is actually the pH that is like balancing the microbiome of the skin and supporting the microbial balance in the skin. And when we use this microbial extract and we want to put it in a cream, it's very important also that if we use any preservatives, because preservatives are there actually to kill the microbes. So if we don't want to harm the skin's microbiome and we want to balance it, we need to have preservatives that are very mild and food grade. So we cannot use like harsh preservatives that are actually killing all the microbes. So that's very important when you are doing this kind of cosmetic product that's supposed to support your microbial balance. So you have to think about the things like pH and what are the preservatives, so that the cream is not disturbing the microbiome balance of the skin. And of course, our products, they are organic, certified organic. So we use plant oils that have also these essential fatty acids in them. So they are cold pressed or they are carbon dioxide extracted. So then there's this omega fatty acids and also natural vitamin E, because I think at the moment most of the people who are using our creams, they have some kind of skin issues like skin rashes or atopic dermatitis or something like that. So we're using other ingredients to boost the microbial extract. So omega oils and natural vitamin E are the things that are actually increasing the skin's ability to heal itself. So they're also suppressing this inflammation of the skin, and they help these skin cells to work as they should work. And we have had very good results also. We have been testing this with people who have different kind of skin issues and for example, atopic dermatitis, which is very huge problem in Finland. So we have seen that this works very well. And yeah, why do we work with microbes? Why did we want to make a cream with microbes? Well, I think if you realize how this life on Earth has been developed, so it all comes down to microbes. So actually we are also a result of the evolution of the microbes. So all life on Earth is well, we have to thank the microbes that there are living things like plants and people and other species like animals and so on. And we have this symbiosis with nature. The plants, they are producing oxygen, and we are producing this carbon dioxide, and we are changing these gases. But we actually also change genes via microbes with different species. And this is very interesting that we need this symbiosis. When we are in the nature, we are actually all the time when we are contacting with plants or animals, we are changing genes via microbes. So, and this is the way the evolution works. And it's not working properly if we don't have this connection with the nature via microbes. I don't know, this is very interesting idea, and there have been studies about this also, not in Finland, but in, for example, in England. And when we think about our microbiome and how this is developed, of course, this microbiome, there's all the different microbe genes we have in our body, and this microbiome that we have in our body, it starts to form already when we are in our mother's womb. And how the mother is living is, of course, affecting how our microbiome is developed, but also like when we are born, there's a lot of different things that are happening when we are born. And if we are born like with C-section, our microbiome will look very different than if we are born natural way. And when, well, of course, this is more about like skin's microbiome, I think, but it affects the whole body. But yeah, I want to explain this because if we're born in natural way, there's a lot of different kind of microbes that come from the mother to the child's skin and into the lungs and also into the bowel system. And these microbes are there to protect this baby from the other microbes that are coming from the outside world. There's, for example, this kind of lactic acid bacteria that form this kind of shield on the baby, because lactic acid bacteria, they are producing lactic acid, so they are affecting the pH of the skin and the pH of the lungs and the pH of the bowel system. And in this way, they are like determining what kind of different bacteria can live in the baby's body. Do you get the idea? Yeah. So this is very important way to determine how the microbiome is starting to fold, and also it affects how the immune system works. And I guess first 3 years are the most important time in person's life to affect how the immune system is starting to work. And that's why we have also like baby cream, because this is, for example, for babies who are born in C-sections, and they have higher risk to get allergies and stuff like that. So if it's very difficult to go to the to have contact with forest soil with small baby, like who is like 2 months old or something. So you can use this cream and give this baby more diverse microbial contact than if you live in a sterile home or something like that. And this is important because with this microbial extract, you can teach the baby's immune system in a way that it's understanding that it doesn't have to like start inflammation if there's pollen in the air, or if there's like dogs or cats around. So they are not like life-threatening things to have with us, like pollen or this dust that comes from animals. And if the immune system is in balance, it's working correctly, it's not starting the inflammation when your lungs or your skin has contact to these things. Well, yeah, but if I don't know if you did get the idea what's our goal. Our goal is to help people to get rid of different kind of allergies and immune related diseases. And let's now talk with Iida. She will tell more about these amazing research results they have been getting from their studies. So Iida, you can tell a little bit about your background as a researcher and how you got involved with these forest microbes.
Yes, thank you for having me here. So my name is Iida Mäkelä. I'm a doctoral researcher in the University of Helsinki in Denvi, which is the kind of interdisciplinary environmental science doctoral program. So we're really combining different fields of science to form this knowledge and understand better what are the problems and how we can maybe fix them. And as Maria mentioned, I also work as a product manager in Ute Scientific, which produces this biodiversity extract for cosmetic products such as Moi Forest's really lovely products. And how I got involved with forest microbes, I used to live in countryside as a kid, so forest has really important meaning for me. I love the forest atmosphere and the feeling and the sound and everything about it. So it was quite clear for me that I wanted to work and study more about biology and ecology and that theme in general. So I studied in ecology in the University of Helsinki as my master's. And then I did my master's thesis about how different microbes or bacterial diversity differs in urban versus rural environments. So, and especially in clover leaves. So that was kind of my way to introduce myself to this microbial diversity between urban areas and the countryside. And then I continued to do my PhD around the same topic, so studying how the natural exposure is different in the urban world versus the countryside. So that is in a nutshell who I am and what I do.
Yeah. Can you, I was trying to tell about the researchers, but of course you are the best to do that. So can you tell a few examples of what kind of studies have been done about forest microbes in Finland?
Yeah, that is really kind of a hot topic at the moment. We only have this good enough technology to detect bacteria and a diversity of them just a couple decades only. So with this information, our scientists saw that the increase in immune-mediated diseases is actually linked to the biodiversity and especially the lack of biodiversity in the urban world. So based on that information, the biodiversity hypothesis was formed, where it kind of combines really nicely the problem when people are moving into the cities are not in contact with nature anymore. We get really kind of nasty illnesses that are linked to our immune system. So that is kind of the umbrella theme around the scientific research around this topic. So then the scientists have studied what is the microbial and bacterial diversity in the urban world versus the countryside world, and how that differs, and what different factors actually are affecting the diversity. And when we think about cities in general, the bigger the city, the more further we are from the nature. And typically, I think that many people who are living in the cities, this really hectic lifestyle, knows that it's really, the nature is quite far, and we struggle to find the time to go outdoors. And actually, if we go outdoors, that is good. But what usually is lacking is the kind of physical exposure to nature. So when we go to a park, we get the fresh air and we calm down, and our stress levels go down, which is a really nice thing to have. But we actually need more than that. We need the physical exposure to this rich biodiversity that can only be found in the rich nature. So that is important, and we kind of need to take that into account by educating people that dirt is not bad, getting dirty is not bad. So we want to get that exposure. And especially during the COVID time, when people have really kind of seen this trend of disinfecting everything, basically hands all the time, which is good because we want to prevent the disease. But on the other hand, we also want to get the good exposure. So as Maria mentioned and summarized really well, the Karelia study, which is really good example of this study, how the living environments can create this problem with our immune system. So genetically, we're really similar in Finnish side and in the Karelian side of Russia, but the living conditions are different. So even though we are surrounded by forests in both environments, people in Finland tend to live more westernized, in a more westernized way. So we live in the cities, we are living more hygienic life. On the other hand, in the Russian side, people are living in more this country lifestyle, so farming and getting themselves exposed to this biodiversity all the time. And that is the good way to do it, kind of getting exposed all the time. So based on this knowledge about how the exposure is necessary and how we need it and how the lack of exposure creates problems, the scientists started to think that what can we do about it? So when we know that we don't have much time in our hectic lifestyles, the solution should be really good. Is there a way to prevent that happening? So one of maybe the key studies around this in the Adele research topic is the kindergarten study, where most people know that typical kindergartens, at least in Finland, they usually have a lot of gravel, they have paved surfaces, and they are not exposed to natural biodiversity. And during this study, the scientists brought back the forest floor. They had these planters where the kids were able to plant plants and be in contact with this forest and natural rich microbiome. And the exposure time was 28 days, which is a relatively short time period. And after this 4 weeks, they measured the cytokines levels of these kids. And they actually saw that the cytokine levels were changing towards more preferable states. So what are basically cytokines are? They are proteins, the small signaling proteins of the immune system. And they are basically, you can divide them into different categories. One would be pro-inflammatory, so creating inflammation, and other is anti-inflammatory. And this misbalance of these cytokines is often in the center of immune-mediated diseases. So they found out that the kind of anti-inflammatory cytokines were more prevalent, more increased after the natural exposure, which creates this kind of opposite reaction to immune-mediated diseases. So the immune system calmed down. On the other hand, they also saw that the microbial diversity on the skin and in the gut was increased as well. So this was really interesting finding, and based on this, the scientists were really kind of nailing down the problem that we can, by reintroducing the natural rich microbiome, we can restore this problem of lost nature connection. And what could be a better way to do that is to use cosmetic, which is a really easy application. And people living in Finland, surrounded by snow half of the year, we can use cosmetics to kind of bring back that nature connection. So it's a really, really nice way to tackle this big problem.
Yeah, thank you, Iida. Well, you just mentioned a little bit about how these forest microbes are affecting our body. Can you tell a little bit more about the mechanism, how this, what happens on the skin when you have soil microbes there, or maybe this reconnecting nature extract on your skin? So how this signaling is happening from the skin?
Yes. So skin is actually one of the most important immunological organs in human body. So it kind of detects what is happening around us. So when we get this natural exposure, the microbial particles and the kind of structural components that are in contact with our skin get recognized. The skin has this specific pattern recognition receptors and Langerhans cells, which detect these microbial particles, and they transmit and kind of forward that information deeper into our immune system. And that is how our immune system learns. And this kind of constant exposure to the rich natural microbiome is kind of way our immune system has developed to function with. So when we lack that in our surrounding, our immune system kind of goes haywire, trying to look for that exposure everywhere, and might start attacking things that are not kind of harmful for us. So the mechanism works via these receptors on top of the skin.
Yeah, I think, thank you very much, Iida. I think if you have any questions there, you can also, the audience can ask if you have some something on your mind.
Thank you. Yes, let's open the floor for questions. Anyone? Yes, I don't see who is raising. Maybe we can put the slides off for a little bit.
Yeah, I can. Let's see. Stop sharing. No. Yes.
There we go. Okay, Diana?
Yeah, I'm curious. My mother always used to say, I'm based in Australia, and I have a question around some of the research, but my mother always used to say you had to eat 1 kilo of soil in your life to be healthy. And I used to say the same with my kids. But I'm curious to know if the microbiomes from the Finnish forest make a difference to me living in Australia. And then it leads me to another thought, is I was born in Papua New Guinea and grew up there, eating the soil there, with English/Australian lineage, and then moved to Australia when I was, in my later year, in my, school years, how that makes a difference to the microbiomes I need to have to be healthy. So, and would the products that such as the ones from Maria's work for me?
Yeah, maybe I can take that one. So yes, that would be really good. In general, of course, the soil microbes they have kind of the general species that can be found in many different type of areas. And the key thing is the diversity, actually. So the Finnish nature is kind of unique because we have these cold winters, and we have a lot of this slowly growing bacteria in the soil, and we also have a really low amount of these, what is called, antibiotic resistant genes in our soils. So the best way, of course, is to go outdoors and get that exposure, but you can get it using this Finnish really rich, diverse microbial lotion as well. So it works just as well whether you live in Australia or in the US, but they might have slight differences with the microbial composition in overall, but the key thing is to have the diversity. So it doesn't matter if it's slightly kind of different, at least once you get the exposure, that is the key thing.
Okay, great, thank you. That's a great question, Diana. Anyone else? Italia.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for this interesting presentation. So I am coming, a little bit more from pharmaceutical and chemical field. I was working for a few years in food additives, research and industry, which is, has quite similar logic, which I would call making people to feel better and offering some kind of solutions in this stuck world. So I'm completely convinced of effects that these products offer. What I'm maybe more concerned is about ethical aspects of this, because I see how, for example, food additives, botanical additives, how destructive they've been for our biodiversity and nature world. How easy it gets, industries jump on it and these products get industrialized. And I'm a bit disturbed, about moving soil, from the forest, even for kindergartens, for good reason, but still. And same for these products. So I would be curious to hear your opinion. How do you deal with these ethical issues? And maybe even how attributing agency to viruses and microorganisms that are in the forest. So it's really how we avoid, by creating these products, this further destruction of ecosystems that we know that they are dramatic already nowadays.
That's a really good concern. I love your question. It's really important to kind of pinpoint this. So what we do in cosmetics with Reconnecting Nature, the product is inactivated. So any microbe living in that used to live in product is inactivated or basically dead. And one of the key things is also that the efficacy of the product is still the same, whether it's inactivated or not, because the inactivation process will preserve the necessary particles and structural components of the microbes that go to the receptors in the skin. So we can kind of comfortably say that we can bring this product into different areas, and it won't be a hazard or kind of invasive species to another ecosystems. Of course, all the microbes that we have in our ingredient are, of course, purely from nature, so it's natural, and most of them can be found from different type of environments globally. The other thing is the sustainability factor, which is, of course, really important. We want to preserve the forests and natural environments because they are so valuable for us. So when we talk about the forest microbiome, the natural microbiome, we are not actually going to the forest to dig up the forest floor, because that would be quite unsustainable. What we use is actually commercially available composted, for example, leaf litter, and we study the diversity from each ingredient. And when we know what we want to get this really highly diverse natural diversity, we measure different ingredients and combine them to get this similarly diverse natural microbiome to the product. But we kind of replicate it in a sustainable way and using these kind of recycled materials.
I can actually show you, if it's okay, I can show some slides where a little bit about this diversity and about different kind of, well, this soil that we are, or extract that we are using. It's compared to this, where it's compared to actual forest soil. Let's see. Well, here you can see a little bit about diversity. So this is how many different bacteria are there in this microbial extract, and every batch that they are making this microbial extract, it gets analyzed so that they know that the composition is correct, that there are the microbes that there need to be so that it works through the skin. And well, this is the adult study done with this microbial extract. They used this extract for 2 weeks. And this was done, I think, in Tampere University, or was it also in Helsinki? But yeah, so the idea was to see how this microbial extract is working in healthy adults that have been living their whole life in the cities. And I think this was one of the earliest studies done with this microbial extract. And yeah, and they noticed that after 2 weeks, they could already measure some differences in skin microbiome and also in cytokines, and then also from people's poop, they saw that in stool sample, they saw that bowel microbes had also shifted in a more healthy way. And yeah, this is actually the one Iida was telling about, this treated soil that we are using, this autoclaved soil. If you see in the right side of the slide, there's this original soil, so the actual forest soil, and then there's autoclaved soil. And this is study done with this was with human immune cells. They were studying how these different kind of how this microbial extract that has not the living living microbes in it, how does it work compared to original soil. And yeah, so there's a lot of studies done with this. And about this also this ethical side for us it's very important, as I tried to say at first, that we don't like tell people that don't go to nature. Of course, that's unethical to do so. Our goal is to spread the word that the nature is the healer. So go there, and you have to have this nature connection. And as a brand, we also think about this, the whole biome, not only the human biome, but the biome that nature's biome, and we people are part of that. So we, for example, we have strict policies that we don't use. For example, we use organic ingredients because we know that if you are using this regular farming, then you're like destructing the forest, these soil microbes. If you use fertilizers that are synthetic or some kind of pesticides that are synthetic, so then you're destroying the soil microbes and you're destroying the bees microbes, so that we don't have bees anymore if you use this regular farming. And so the sourcing of our ingredients is very important, and we want to also tell people that if we use this, we have, for example, bird sap, and then we have this blueberry seed oil here, which is a side stream from blueberry juice manufacturer. So we want to tell people that if we find some other ways to use Finnish forest than just to cut the trees and use it as a cellulose, to get cellulose, you can find there are different species that you can use in a more sustainable way, and then you can also maintain the biodiversity of the forest. And this is very important to us. Of course, we have actually this kind of cardboard tube here, but our first question to our manufacturer was how do they preserve this biodiversity of the forest? And these are the things we want to it's not something that common consumer knows in Finland. People are not understanding how important the Finnish forest is, how important the lakes in Finland are. We have a lot of lakes here, and this kind of small ponds that have also humic acids in there, and they are keeping the forest diversity in a totally different level that if you go to some other areas on the world. So these are very important things, and one of the, if we think about this ethical point, of course we are always balancing how can we do this in the most ethical way so that we are not destroying the biome of the human and nature. So this is very interesting question, and we have to think about it all the time when we are picking our what kind of packages we are using, what kind of ingredients we are using, how do we source those and stuff like that. So it's a very big question, and anyone who is producing anything has to think about that. Yeah, thank you. If you want, I can put this slides away. So
Yeah, thank you.
Other questions? Yeah.
Yeah, anyone else?
I would like to add that one of my motivations for kind of studying this, and I want to bring this information to people because unfortunately in this really economic driven world, when we don't get any use from nature, we don't maybe necessarily kind of value it as much. So by kind of telling people that how important nature is for us in general, and we don't want to kind of only look at the forest as a kind of tree fields for the economy, it has a lot more value. That is really a good way to kind of teach, a good thing to teach people.
Thanks. I wanted to just say that because I work for a forest advocacy organization. So I was thinking about the fact is that in Finland we have quite little for old growth forests. So maybe, I mean, this is just a hunch, but I suppose in old growth forests, there is also much more biodiversity than in the production forests. So is that also, I mean, you are using this kind of, this extract is made of not sourced from the forest itself, but can you work with that, the conservation aspect with the old forests and diversifying the forest in Finland? I'm just thinking like how to make the link there.
About older forest and their diversity and promoting that.
And your product, yeah.
Well, we actually, because forest, it's kind of mosaic of different type of environments. And when we have old forests, they have a lot more time to kind of have these unique patches of different kind of environmental factors, and the microbes tend to kind of, there are different types of so many different microbes that kind of want to or prefer different type of environments. So I think in older forests, there are diversity because there are so many different patches, unlike in the commercial forest, if you will. It's kind of destroyed by these machines. The forest floor is kind of dug up and grounded, and the living conditions are different. So I would assume that not many different microbes want to live there. So basically, yeah, we want to get the diversity really high. So in that sense, we are talking about the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, anyone else? Maita, yeah.
Maybe a simple question, but what was the exact explanation of forest dust?
Yeah.
I think I missed that a bit, or
Yeah, well, forest dust is actually a name that we invented when we started to work with this microbial extract, this Reconnecting Nature microbial extract. So it's a kind of work name for this, and then it became a part of our brand. So because for consumers, this Reconnecting Nature microbial extract, it's very difficult maybe to say. So it's the name that we invented, but yeah. So if we think officially, it's called Reconnecting Nature microbial extract. Yeah, and if you think about this ingredients list, how it's set there, it's actually humus extract, which is like referring to this soil with humic acids, where this slowly increasing or developing microbes are living. So yeah, this is confusing, but we wanted to keep this metsapöly because it started to live its own life. So that's why we are talking about forest dust. Yeah.
No, it's not so confusing. I mean, you explained it very well. And to be honest, forest dust is a very catchy name. It's very well branded.
Yeah.
When I think of it as well, I think of I don't know how you call it in English, but in the morning when you wake up and on the grass, there is some water, you know, they said it's very healthy to take that on your feet as well, which I used to do in Europe, you know, walk there and get that into my skin, into my biosystem. So forest dust, I really understand. So I did understand it well, that you recreate a forest dust without touching the forest.
Yes, that is correct.
So
it's like baking a cake. So we know the recipe we want, we choose the ingredients to get there.
But I mean, the amount of ingredients in there is gigantic. This is then synthetic, no?
No, it's synthetic would be if we kind of grow that in lab conditions. By composting, it's a really natural process, similar than that wouldn't happen in nature. So for example, if we compost leaf litter, that's the same process that we would have in nature on its own.
Okay, so it is natural products, but they are maybe produced in labs and then put together into a product, which can be forest dust or whatever.
Well, the key difference is that we don't produce it in lab because many of the microbes cannot be cultivated in lab conditions. So it's important to keep the naturality or the natural way of the product or the composting process kind of happening on its own as in nature.
It's not produced in labs. Okay.
No,
okay.
sorry if I was kind of didn't explain it well.
I guess, Maita, what you're wondering then is that where is that leaf litter and those ingredients then coming from, if not from the forest?
Good.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So one example is from parks. So there are different kind of raw materials that can be used to get this kind of compost that we desire. And one is to kind of reuse the leaf litter coming from the trees of parks.
So then, sorry, Diana, I see your hand, but I just want to pick into that. So then somebody could say, oh, but then you're creating more use for, as in, aren't you then depriving that from the parks? But then is it so that you will be using the material that is anyway collected, that
Yes.
is like recycled, like a new use for the material that is anyway removed from the cities, which is in itself kind of silly, but that's what we do.
Yeah, yeah, that is kind of the best way would be to kind of leave the leaf litter on the park, in the parks, because that creates biodiversity to the parks, but rotting leaves is not pleasant for city dwellers, so they tend to pick up and collect the leaves anyway.
Okay, thanks. Diana?
Yeah, so when you say it's better to be exposed to the microbiome in nature, does that mean actually picking up stuff and that, or just walking in it is enough?
Walking with barefoot would do the trick probably, because you want to get the skin exposed to the rich soil diversity. What I like to do is I usually pick up pine cones or kind of touch the moss or pick tree branches to throw at my dog. So I play with my dog in the forest and kind of get myself exposed, or my hand exposed to that diversity. At least I try to.
So you don't have to go and dig your hands into the soil.
Well, gardening is a good way. I cannot specifically say how different type of touching and touching the soil or not touching the soil will give the effect, because I haven't studied it. But I would, in general, say that the more the better. The more exposed you get, the better it is.
Yeah. I just want to thank everyone for their questions before, because they were really good for me. So thank you all.
Diana, you were there for 2020 IFTDays, and I just wanted to remind you of Mika Saarenpää, a researcher from Finland, also Helsinki University, who talked about this microbial exposure. And he then said, though the research is still ongoing, he said the best thing is to do is just get in contact with many diverse different types of biotopes, basically, as in that go to the beach, get in contact, do different kinds of activities that get you in different kinds of contact with pure, clean nature. So maybe not, well, in the park, don't go dig in, maybe, but in a more pure nature. The message is to diversify the contact, is what he said.
And Maita, just a side note, it's called dew in English, the water on the leaves, grass in the morning.
Great. Okay. Anyone else? Questions? Vitalia, are you still there? I'm looking at my list of things that I wrote down. I remember as a child, I visited my cousins who lived in Zambia, and I remember there we were not we were told not to walk barefoot because there were insects in the ground that would go through the soles of your feet. So I'm just wondering, in Finland, perhaps it's a different kind of contact that is possible. So we had, I don't know if Moses is here anymore, but we have also people from Africa and other countries. So how does that play out? What are the risks, let's say?
Yes, of course, there are different type of threats in different parts of the world, which we need to take into account. Of course, in Finland, you also have adders, the snakes that are poisonous. So that is also a good thing to keep in mind. One other thing I would like to point out is that when we get exposed to nature, what is good thing to keep in mind is that if we have wounds or some kind of other things where our skin is really broken, we don't want to get the exposure into our system. So that is the kind of one thing to keep in mind. So we want to get exposed, but in a safe way. So we don't want to rub our wounds to the ground because that would lead to infection, which is kind of maybe the biggest risk in this natural exposure. Of course, in cosmetics, we use inactivated kind of reconnecting nature where there's nothing living, but of course, we don't even want to get that into our bloodstream or tissues.
Okay, thank you. Oh, it's quite noisy here. Yeah, I'm looking at the people here for any questions. Vitalia?
No, I don't have any specific questions. I think indeed it's all about balance. How do we manage to find this equilibrium?
Yeah, that is true. And if you have any questions later on, you can always email me or Maria. More than happy to answer.
Okay.
Yes. If it's okay, I can show you a small video we have made. And this is also, it's about our product, but it's also about forest. And this is our main goal in Finland because we had this during COVID time, and so people are locked in their houses. So we want to that they are visiting the nature as much as they can, especially in summertime, because we have such a short time here in Finland when it's nice to go to the forest. Yeah, it's just a few months and then it gets very rainy and cold, and then the snow comes, and so I can share the screen again and show you this. And of course, please send any questions to us.
Maita, I saw your hand still up. Did you have something to ask before we go to the video?
Oh, yeah, but I can do it after the video, no?
Yes, you can do it after video also. Yeah. And this is, I think, the main idea we want to share with people. So the nature is the solution for everything, and this is something that it's not like that we think that this is the good commercial for us to say this way, but it's more like both of the founders. We're a very small company. There's only 2 of us working at the moment, and I have been working with this holistic skincare and natural cosmetics, and I'm very familiar with different kind of production methods, how you can make cosmetics and what is the most sustainable way. That's the most important thing for us at the moment. And here's the video. Yeah, so there was one question still, but this is the main idea that if people realize that we have a gold mine in Finland, we have this beautiful forest here that we need to preserve, and we should spend their time as much as we can so that we can stay healthy. So that's the main idea. But then if it's not possible, or if you have some kind of skin issues that you need to treat, you can always use this kind of products that have this soils diversity in it, and you can actually get results with that. We have done a lot of testing with our products with people who have skin rashes, and it actually works. So yeah.
Thanks. I'm going to, Jin has posted a question in the chat. I'm just wondering why filtered soil contain more microbial than the original soil.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily contain more microbial diversity than the original soil. We are trying to replicate it as much as we can. Of course, the diversity is really high, like in really diverse environments. There are environmental areas where the diversity may be lower than in our product. So maybe that is the borderline or the answer for that question.
Thanks. And Maite, your closing question?
Well, actually, Maria, thank you so much. Very interesting. Iida as well, super cool. And everybody here. And yeah, it's not allowed to be a product marketing campaign, but actually I'm quite curious now and interested as well. So where to find more information and maybe a link to this or something, then because it's I mean, we as forest bathing pioneers or sharers or guides, yeah, we believe in this. This is inherent to our existence, right? But of course, there's so many people who are not aware, and that it goes on so many levels. It's not only the air you breathe, the movement which you make, the physical movement with your body. It goes into the little details as, you know, the exposure. And then, yeah, if living in a city and going to parks is the best options these days for people to be in touch with nature. And yeah, this could be a good replacement for still creating the input of nature via the skin all the way into your nervous system, into your, you know, like into your neurons, into deep into your body, which has effects on millions of places. And then I come to the question, or not the question, but what I have read or learned, it was photons, that those were the ones from the sunlight which created with the soil this healthy effects. Is this the same as you use, or is it just a term which is different? Or
sorry, I didn't quite catch the question. You talked about the photons and their kind of response to the skin and comparing that to the natural exposure, or did I get it right?
Wait, sorry, I was not very clear. That's true. So first of all, what are photons then, or how are photons created then exactly? And where in your process are they? Because I think you didn't use these words. Is it correct, or didn't I listen so well? But maybe it's another thing again.
Yeah, maybe Maria mentioned photons. Is that related to the sun shine?
Yeah, photons are related to sun. I think Iida used the word proteins several times. So maybe that was it. So yeah, photons are actually affecting, and all the different kind of radiation that comes from sun, other wavelengths of different lights, they are affecting our cells, of course, and our skin and our microbiome also. If we're spending more time in sun, it affects our microbiome and also our vitamin D production. But when we're talking about soil microbes, I think the correct word was proteins.
Great.
Okay. Maybe Maria and Iida, maybe you can put your email addresses in the chat. So then those who want to ask you more questions can get in contact with you. And then, yeah, if there are no questions, and I think we're going to close, and we're going to send the recording to our email, our newsletter people. So you will be able to check back some of the details of this presentation. So thank you so much for both of you, Maria and Iida, for coming, and everyone who was present with their questions. Yeah, then I think we are actually going on a summer break, IFTDays. But before that, maybe we'll come out, at least we'll come out with the forest bathing lifestyle input that we collected from you guys in the a couple of circles ago. But other than that, then we'll just continue in September. So stay tuned and have a good summer or winter, Diana.
Yeah, thank you for everyone for listening. And if you have any questions, please send those to us so we can answer.
Yes, thank you also from my side, and thank you for really good questions.
Nice. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.